Good day, ladies and gents. Today we are doing special right triangles, so we're continuing Unit 7. Day 3 would be about special combos, so that's going to be our warm-up. We're going to classify triangles, that's something new today, and we're going to start trigonometry. So it's going to be a guided lesson on HOA. So it's just going to be a guided lesson about just labeling hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. All right, let's get this going. So also, we have already finished page 4 and page 5 yesterday. We are going to continue working on page 6. We're going to we're going to finish page 10 and 11 today. And then we're also going to be working on page 13, 14, and 15. Now, this will be about the trig, and we're going to be touching on these right here for a couple of days, just baby steps. Okay, let's get going. So right now, the first thing we're going to do, everyone go to page 6. So everyone's going to page 6. So we're on page 6. And today we're going to be working on number 3 and 4. So let's jump on number 3. So we're on page 6, number 3. All right, so page 6, number 3. All right, the first thing we have to decide is which triangle are we going to do first? So we're going to do the top one or the bottom one. Which one? Top or bottom? And your decision should have been the bottom one. Now, why are we going to be doing the bottom one first? What is so special about this one versus this one? And the reason is the fact that it has a number. So this number right here, that's what we're going to do first. But Ms. Holland, there's also these numbers here. Well, those are angles. We want a side length. Which one has a side length? That's this triangle right here because it has the 20. All right, so with our pen or a marker, something that stands out, we're going to draw just a miniature version of this first. So we're going to draw that one right there. And we're going to put the angles. So that's 45 and this is 90. So what would be this other angle? And that would have to be 45 to complete the 180 degrees. Now, what was the side length? That was the number 20. So I'm going to put 20 right here. And that's all I want to put on there. So now let's look at our hot topics. So our hot topics right here at the top. So step 1, ignore our variables. Good, we did that. We didn't even put them on here. That's awesome. That was a major success. Step 2, label. Now, how are we going to label this? Well, this is a 45, 45, 90. So we're going to look at our 45, 45, 90, which is this one right here. All right, so if we look at that, how are we going to label this? When we put our finger on the right angle, the two sides we're touching are X and X. So put your finger on the right angle. Here's X and here's X. And notice that I'm doing that in a different color. So I've only labeled 2 reds. I need a third one. What is the third red going to be? In this case, so XX, the third side that we're missing, which is between the 45 and the 45. So between 45 and 45 is X radical 2. And you always write it above or below, never next to it. Because we don't want to think that says 20 times radical 2. We don't want to think that. All right, the next step says, so we labeled, solve for X. Set the side number equal to what you labeled as. So what was the side number? That was 20. So I'm going to do this off to the side here. So 20 is equal to, and what was it labeled as? X radical 2. And now we're going to solve. So here's an example of us solving. So if we had something like this, which actually looks a lot like what we're doing right now, to get rid of this, I'd have to divide both sides by radical 2 and just keep making it pretty. So in this case, I have this radical 2 I want to get rid of. So we're going to divide both sides by radical 2. And let me go ahead and zoom in here. All right. So the radical 2's cross out, and we're left with this. Uh-oh, we're not allowed to have a radical in the bottom. So how do we fix that? Well, on your hot topics, I give examples. Copy, paste, erase. So what you do is you copy the radical 2, you paste it on top. Now, when you copy paste, that thing is still left behind. And what you're going to do is erase the radical. So copy, paste, erase. So basically, move the radical to the top and leave the number behind. So in our case, move the radical 2 up to the top, and we leave the number behind is equal to X. And can you make that any prettier? Well, let's see. Like, if you have whole numbers, go with whole numbers. If you can simplify them, do that. So in this case, The 20 and the 2, if you divide those, that becomes 10 radical 2 equals x. So that was a little bubble thought. All right, excellent. All right, so now we just solved for x. Beautiful. Now, what did that have to do with anything? Well, let's see. We solved for x. Okay, so we're only on step 3. Okay, let's keep going. Step 4. Plug that into the other side. So for instance, 2x, you instead of the x, you can put parentheses and then fill it in with whatever you got for x. And so this is me filling it in, and then you just make it pretty. Whole numbers go with whole numbers, radicals go with radicals. So in this case, 2 and 2, that makes 4. And you were stuck with that radical 3. Over here, if I plug in my x, in this case, it was 2 radical 3. The whole number 2 is all by itself. Radical 3 and radical 3, you put those together. What's 3 times 3? That's 9. So it's radical 9. And what's the square root of 9? 3. Oh, look, whole numbers again. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so that's example. So let's apply that to this. Anywhere we see an x, we're going to plug this in. Well, if I plug it in here, it's just going to go back to 20. I can show you, but I don't think you care at the moment. So let's put this over here. Oh, that's just x. Oh, that's just 10 radical 2. That's awesome. And then up here, that's also 10 radical 2. So we have 10 radical 2 here and 10 radical 2 here. Now, just in case you were, so we're done with this one, but just in case you were interested, why was this back to 20? Let me prove that to you real quick. So you can see how it says x radical 2. Well, it's whatever x is times radical 2. Now, what was your x? 10 radical 2. So I'm going to fill that in now. So 10 radical 2 radical 2. Man, I'm going to rewrite that. That doesn't look pretty. Show that just a little better. That's prettier. Okay. And then 10 we're stuck with. Radical 2 times radical 2 is radical 4. What's the square root of 4? That's just the number 2. Now listen to yourself. You said 2. You didn't say square root of 2. You said 2. So only write 2. A lot of people put square root on there by accident. That's not right. All right. What's 10 times 2? That is 20. See? It went right back to the same thing right there. Okay? So that was the same exact thing. Now, did I need to see this? Not really, but it's a good thing to check. Okay, so let's get back to the problem. We found these 3 sides right here. Put that back in the picture. And so it's this bottom one. So this side right here was 10 radical 2. This side right here was 10 radical 2. And this side right here is still 20. Perfect. All right, that's really nice, isn't it? This hodgepodge of crazy, that is a collage of ugly, right? But I don't want to put that in here. See, now, isn't that pretty? And that's ugly, but we only wanted these 3 sides. So that's the only thing we put in here. And that looks a lot more organized than all this. This was just a bunch of work that was very confusing. But when we put it over here, we're like, much prettier. All right, excellent. All right, reset. We're going to draw this other triangle now. So we're going to do this other triangle. All right, and all we want on this triangle are the angles. So this right here was 90, and this angle right here was 30. And then if that's 90 and that's 30, what's left over? That would have to be 60. So this was 60 right here. So now we have all 3 angles, and then what was the side length on here? That's x, I don't want that. Y, I don't want that. This, there's the side number. We found it earlier, that's 10 radical 2. So 10 radical 2. All right, let's zoom in and focus just on this. Okay, so step 1, ignore your variables. Perfect. We did, because we didn't even bother writing them down. So that's perfect. All right, let me slide this over a little bit. All right, step number 2, label. All right, so this right here is a 30, 60, 90, but this is turned, right? Okay, now we want the fold first. That's always what we want first. Between the 30 and the 90, that's where x radical 3 goes. No, see, it's not this one, is it? That's 90 and 60. I want 30 and 90. Oh, there's 30. There's 9. Okay, it's this. This is the fold. And that is x radical 3. Between the 9 and now on the other 2 sides, so the fold is x radical 3. The other 2 sides are x and 2x. The short side is x. That's between 90 and 60. That's x. and the longest side 2x, which makes sense because 2x is bigger than x. All right, let's follow our steps. Step number 3, solve for x. Set the side number equal to what you labeled as. What was the side number? The side number was 10 radical 2, and I'm going to do this off to the side here. So 10 radical 2 is equal to, what is it? That's x radical 3. And now we're going to solve. So I'm going to write this over again so you can follow my steps. We're going to divide both sides by this radical 3. That's what we want to get rid of. So divide both sides by radical 3. And I cross that out. We're not allowed to have a radical in the bottom. So it's copy, paste, erase. So move this radical to the top and leave the number behind. So that would be 10 radical 2. We're moving the radical 3 to the top, and we leave the number behind. Now make it pretty. Whole numbers go with whole numbers. Radicals go with radicals. 10 divided by 3, we're stuck with. 10 over 3, we're stuck with. 2 and 3, so 2 and 3 make how much? 2 times 3, not 2 plus 3, 2 times 3, and that's 6. And we're left with this. Ooh, that looks really ugly. But that's what we got. That is the correct answer. So next step. Okay, so now step number 4 is plug in. So we're going to plug this in for x. This will go right back to 10 radical 2. This right here would equal 10 radical 6 over 3. And this one right here is 2 times this. And you only multiply the top because it's 2 over 1, right? So multiply the top, that would be 20 radical 6. Only whole numbers go with whole numbers. So 2 times 10 is 20. So this number right here is 20 radical 6 times 3. Over 3. Okay, and now we have all 3 sides. Yeah, with all this crazy stuff right there, you got all 3 sides now. So that's perfect. So we're going to take this and put it back into our pretty, pretty picture. So we put it back in our pretty, pretty picture. We have this side right here is 20 radical 6 over 3. And this side right here is 10 radical 6 over 3. And this side right here is still 10 radical 2. Okay, so all this hodgepodge of crazy, yuck. If I just cover this up and just focus just on this part, doesn't that look so much cleaner? That's so much more organized than try to read this. Okay, so let's write down our final answers. This side was our black x. This side also equaled 20 radical 6 over 3. This side was our black y. This side also equaled 10 radical 6 over 3. And this side was our black z. This side equaled 10 radical 2. And those were the final answers. All right, I know that feels really, really bad, but don't worry. We're building up to multiple choice answers. Yay! So that will make your life a lot easier. Just pointing that out. So we're trying to build up to this. But right now, we're doing all the hard stuff first. Okay, excellent. All right, so those are the answers there. Okay, now let's try number 4. Let's do number 4. You guys are doing great. Just stick with it. Okay, so if you needed to take a picture of that to copy down some notes, let me zoom out a little bit. There you go. So if you still need to copy down some notes, go for it. All right, now let's go down to number 4. Number 4. All right. So the first thing we have to do is step 1. Well, even before the steps, we have to figure out which triangle we're going to do first. Are you going to do the left one or the right one? You tell me, left or right? Left or right? Okay, we're going to do the right one. Now, why are we going to do this one first? The reason is because it has a side length on it. See that 10 radical 6? That's the one we're going to do first. All right, so let's draw that triangle. So this triangle right here. And we're going to put the angles. So this is 45. And what's this other angle have to be? It would have to be 45 as well to complete the 180 degrees. So we put the angles and the side length, which is 10 radical 6. Okay, now let's follow our steps. Step 1, ignore the variables. So we're going to ignore the variables. And the reason is because we don't want their x and our x. We don't want to think that their x and our x are the same, because they're not. So like look back up over here. You see our black x was 20 radical 6 over 3. Well, up here, our red x was 10 radical 2. And over here, our red x was 10 radical 6 over 3. See, our black x may have nothing to do with these other x's. So just putting that up there. That's step one, ignore your variables. Okay, so we're going to ignore our variables by not even writing them down. That'd be perfect. Okay, and then step number 2, label. So this is a 45, 45, 90, right? So for a 45, 45, 90, we have, if we put our finger on the right angle, that's x and x. So x and x. And between the 45 and the 45, the one side left over is x radical 2. So this is x radical 2. All right. Step number 3. Solve for x. Set the side number equal to what you labeled as. Set the side number equal to the label. So we're going to set 10 radical 6 equal to x radical 2. So 10 radical 6 equal to x radical 2. All right, now solve. We're going to divide both sides by radical 2. And these cross out, and you're left with this. Now, what can you do with this? Well, whole numbers go with whole numbers, radicals go with radicals. 10 we're stuck with, but 6 and 2, you can divide those. What's 6 divided by 2? That's the number 3. So it's just 10 radical 3 is equal to x. So that's nice. Miss Holland, I didn't do it this way. I thought I was supposed to copy, paste, erase. Well, you can definitely do that. If you want to copy, paste, erase, let me show you what that would look like. As soon as I have a little scrap sheet of paper here. All right, so what if you did this a different way? What if you did this? So we had 10 radical 6 over radical 2. So this is a what if situation. What if you copy, paste, erase? So if you move the radical to the top, so 10 radical 6, radical 2, and you left the number behind, would you still get the same answer? Let's see. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And 6 times 2, that's radical 12. That doesn't look the same. Well, then what square roots can you take out of there? So 12, here are the magical squares. I can take out, now I know it's like 6 times 2, but 6 is not on this list. 4 is though, so that's 5, radical 4, and radical 3. 4 times 3 is the same thing as 12. What's the square root of 4? That's the number 2. We're still stuck with the radical 3. 5 times 2 is 10, and radical 3 is just radical 3. Now look at all this work. So either you're going to do this, where you just divided, or you're just going to do this, right? All that work. I'm pretty sure we like this one better. You just divided it and you were done with it. That was kind of nicer, wasn't it? All right, so I was just putting that out there. Okay, so now we have our x, our red x. Let's go ahead and plug that in. This right here would be 10 radical 3. And this would also be 10 radical 3. Man, that was super simple. I like that. Okay, we're going to take this hodgepodge to crazy, and we're going to put that over here. All right, so this is still 10 radical 6. This side right here is 10 radical 3. And this side right here is 10 radical 3 as well. That's nice. Okay, and let's do the next one. All right, so right here, we're going to do the other triangle. Let's draw that right here. We're only going to put the angles, what's 90 and 30. And what is that missing angle? If that's 30 and 90, what's left over to make 180 degrees? It would be 60. And now let's put the side number. Okay, that's why, oh, it's 10 radical 3. So put 10 radical 3 right here. Okay, now let's follow our steps. Okay, step 1. Ignore your variables. We did that by not even writing them down. Step 2, label. So if we're going to label, okay, this is a 30, 60, 90. So if this is a 30, 60, 90. So for a 30, 60, 90, we need to find the fold first. Between 30 and 90 is x radical 3. Not there. Ah, it's right here. So here's the fold. And that right there is x radical 3. Okay, and the other two sides are x and 2x. The short side is x, the long side is 2x. So the short side is here, which is between 60 and 90. That's x. And the long side is 2x, between the 30 and the 60. Sweet. All right, next step. Solve for x. Set the side number equal to what you labeled as. So we're going to do this away from all this. So we have 10 radical 3 is equal to x. And now solve. Oh, good. X is already by itself. Nice. So now we're going to take this and we're going to plug it back into here. This will go right back to 10 radical 3. This will be 2 times whatever x was. And our x was 10 radical 3. Whole numbers go with whole numbers. Radicals go with radicals. 2 times 10 is 20. And we're stuck with that radical 3. And there's that side length. And then this one, we have whatever x is times radical 3. And our x was 10 radical 3. So it's 10 radical 3, radical 3. I ran out of room, so that is equal to, whole numbers go with whole numbers, radicals go with radicals. So we have 10, and then radical 3 times 3 is 9. All right, let's keep going. Radical 9, so that's 10 equals, 10 times 3. Because radical 9 is 3, and then we get the number 30. So we got this was 30. Fabulous. Okay, now we have the 3 sides. 1, that goes here, 2, 3. All right, so let's take those 3 sides, put it up here. All right, so this side right here was 30. This side right here is 20 radical 3. And this side is still 10 radical 3. All right, so now this hodgepodge of crazy was condensed down to this pretty thing. Okay, this side was a black x. This side also equaled 20 radical 3. This side was a black y. This side also equals 30. This side is a black z. This side also equals 10 radical 3. Fabulous. Okay, so we just finished page 6. Look at that. Isn't that nice? So page 6 is nicely done. Sweet. Okay, let's keep going. All right, so now that we did our little review, and don't worry, I know this is still crazy and you still don't understand this. Be patient with yourself. It will happen. We just need to keep practicing. Practice, practice, practice. So baby steps. You're going to be fine. Just trust me. All right, so now everyone go to page 10. So we're going to go to page 10. So everyone's going to page 10. So everyone's going to page 10. All right, so page 10. This is a great part. Page 10, here we go. So page 10, we have classify sides, which you guys already know. Equilateral, that is 3 sides are equal. Isosceles, 2 sides are equal, and scaling, 0 sides are equal. And the way you can remember that, the letter E, if you make the E, you have 1, 2, 3 horizontal lines. And that means 3 sides are equal. It's a good way to remember. Isosceles, if you write down the letter I, you have 1, 2. That is 2 horizontal lines to write the letter I. And that's why there are 2. And scaling, there are 0 horizontal lines. So that is 0 sides. That is a wonderful way how to remember this. Okay, now classify my sides. If you're equilateral, then it is definitely not one of those, right? It's definitely not. However, hold on. I'm going to move this a little closer here. Here we go. Okay, isosceles. There's 2 equal sides. Now, if there's 2 equal sides, there is a possibility, possibly a 45, 45, 90. So there is a possibility that this is true. And if it's scaling, it could also be a 30, 60, 90. Now, the reason is, you see how 45, 45, there's 2 equal sides, 2 equal angles. So that means there has to be 2 equal sides. And 30, 60, 90, there are no equal angles. So that means there's no equal sides. There's a direct correlation between sides and angles. So these are possibilities. So this is what we have to do. For 45, 45, 90, we know for a fact that the sides are x, x, and x radical 2, right? Because that's what we proved earlier. Back when we were talking about this. Remember that? I proved it to you. Like, that's how we got this side. That's how we got this side right here. Remember all that? If not, that's okay. I blocked it out too. Okay, so we have these. So if we have a 45, 45, 90, that's x, x, and x radical 2. Now, 30, 60, 90, the sides from smallest to largest are x, x radical 3, and 2x. But we want everything in radical form. So the number 2, another way to say that is square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. So we can do x radical 4. So just trust me. Just be patient. I know this doesn't make sense yet. Just go with it. So if it's a 45, 45, 90, let's say I had these sides. Just go with it right now. So if I had square root of 4, square root of 6, square root of 6. See how we had 2 equal sides? There was a possibility that it was a 45, 45, 90 because we had 2 equal sides. So we want to know, does it match x, x, x radical 2? So the first number, no matter what, has to be radical 4. Let that be x. So going off of that, if this was x, then this would have to be the square root of 4 as well. And this would be square root of 4 times square root of 2. So you see how I'm plugging in x for these. So if this is x, what would these have to say? So this is still be radical 4, and what's 4 times 2? 8. Now, are these the same as this? Is this the same as that? No, it's not. So this is not a 45, 45, 90. It's not the same. So this was not a 45, 45, 90. What about this one? There's a possibility that's 30, 60, 90. So I found these sides sometime. So 5, 15, and 20. So those radicals. Now we need to see, does it follow these rules? X, x radical 3, and x radical 4. So the first number we're stuck with right here. So we're pretending the rest of it doesn't exist. We're going to multiply it by radical 3, and we're going to multiply by radical 4. So square root of 5 times 3 is 15, and then 5 times 4 is 20. Are these the same thing as what we had originally? Then that means that yes, this was a 30, 60, 90. Okay, so now let's actually do some work. Okay, here we go. Number 5. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to darken all of our axis lines. That's going to save us a lot of time. So you see where the arrows are? Let's darken those axis lines. Right there. Okay, sweet. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to plot these points. So we have -2, -3. So you go left or right first, then up and down. So you have to go this way first, then this way, okay? All right, so that is -2, -3, +6, +1, +3, +7. Okay, then we're going to take our straight edge and we're going to connect the dots. Now, everyone should have their ID, but I don't because mine's in my car. All right, so we're going to connect these. All right, make sure your picture looks like mine. All right, sweet. And let's go ahead and do these other ones while we're at it. So -2, +5, +3, -3, and -2, -7. Okay, let's connect the dots. Really miss my ID right now. Okay. Okay, and we're going to decide what these are. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to do the Pythagorean theorem. We have to find these sides. So we're going to make a right triangle. Boop, boop, and shade that in. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, so how many hops is this? This is 1, 2, 3. Remember, count the hops. 1, 2, 3. So that's 3 squared. Plus, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And remember, you always need to go from the dot to the corner. If you go this way, you might stop a little too early. So always start at the dot. Okay, is equal to x squared. So that is 9 plus 36 equals x squared. 9 plus 36 is math. So everyone should have their calculator. And that is 45. So you have the square root of 45 is equal to x. So basically I square root both sides. Okay, so I'm showing a lot more work right now. So we have this, so it's just square root of 45, and just leave it like that. Even if you can make it pretty, don't bother. Just leave it as radical 45. Okay, so right here, boop, boop. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Is equal to x squared. Okay, and we get 64 plus 16 equals x squared. 64 plus 16 is 80. We square both sides, and we just leave it at square root of 80. And this last one. Make a right triangle. You see how I shaded in? That means it stands out from this. All right, so go from this dot to the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 squared plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 squared. All right, so that is 100 plus 25 equals x squared. That's 125 equals x squared, and we square both sides. All right, sweet. Now, how many sides are equal? How many sides? None. There's no sides equal. So because there's no sides equal, which one can it be? Which one can it not be? Okay, scaling, there's no sides equal. 45, 45, 90, there's two sides. Equal out of there's three sides. 36, 90, no sides. Isosceles, two sides. All right, we have no sides are equal, right? So that means it can't be this or this or this. So our choices are either scaling or 30, 60, 90. Now we can just look at this. This does not look legit. If this worked, this would have to be x and this would have to be 2x. This and this does not look like it's twice of that. So I'm pretty sure that it is not 30, 60, 90. But let's double check. We're going to put these numbers from least to greatest. So we have the square root of, let's see, which number comes first? 45, the square root of 80, and the square root of 125. Now, if this was a 30, 60, 90, our rule says that it would be x radical 3, and 2x, which is the same thing as x radical 4. So let's see, x radical 3, x radical 4. All right, so here's our rule. Let's see if it works. I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, no matter what, we're stuck with the first one, radical 45. All right, let's see if these other worked. Okay, so we're going to do 45 times 3 and 45 times 4. That is what we're checking on. So we put this in the calculator. We get radical 45, radical 135, and radical 180. Are these the same? Nope, they are not. So it is definitely not 30, 60, 90. That did not work. So our only answer was scaling. Okay, so now what you guys are going to do, you're going to pause the video. We're going to go ahead and do these right here. So I want you to find the side lengths. Now I'm going to help you with this first one. So this first one right here, I didn't move over at all, right? So that's 0 squared plus, and then we went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 equals x squared. So that's 0 plus 144. So that's 144 equals x squared. So that's the square root of 144. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video and I want you to find the side lengths. I want you to find the other side lengths of this. So I want you to find the other side lengths for this. So pause the video, and you're going to find the 3 side lengths. We already found one. Go find the other ones. Okay, you guys should have found those right there. All right, so let's see what we have here. You guys should have had this one right here. That one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 squared, and that is 1. Oops, you see that? I kind of went off to the side here. That's dangerous. It should have been right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, it's 5. So 5 squared plus 8 squared equals x squared. See how it kind of went diagonally? Definitely something we need to be careful of, right? So, and you guys should have gotten, let's see, that's 25 plus 64. And we got the square root of 89. Okay, and then this one right here. Now, here's a good example of why you don't start here. You know how everyone goes 1, 2, 3, 4, which is good. Now this one, if I went this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, I would have stopped right here. It's just I have a bad drawing, right? So you always start at the dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So plus 5 squared. Okay, we get 16 plus 25, and that is 41. So we got the square root of 41. All right, were any of these sides equal? No. So because there's no sides that are equal, okay, so it's not this one or this one or this one. And all I have to do is check if this is also a 3690. Now, this looks kind of close, right? So that might be, I don't know, but let's see. So let's check. We have 41, 89, and 144. Is x radical 3, and x radical 4, do they work? That is the question. So let's see. We're still stuck with radical 41. And here, we just have to multiply by 3 and multiply by 4. So 41 times 3 and 41 times 4. Let's see. We get the square root of 41. That works. We get the square root of 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, that doesn't work, does it? I could stop right now. This is not going to work. And then this one right here would be square root of 164. Yep, that definitely. Nope. Was that the same? No, it wasn't. So it's definitely not 30, 60, 90. So the only answer was scaling. Okay. So now that you guys got that pretty good. All right, so everyone's going to page 11, and what you're going to do is you're going to plot these just like me, and you are going to make sure that your picture matches mine. And then I want you to find all 3 side lengths. So find all 3 side lengths and make sure you get the same answers as me. But you're going to do that first, and then I'm going to tell you what the answers are. Okay, in addition to that, let's zoom in for a second. Now on number 7, you see where it has 1, 0? Every time you have a 0 with the coordinate, I want you to write XY either above or below it. And I did that for all of these. Anytime I have see that? Every time I had a 0 in the coordinate, I always wrote XY. I'm a teacher. I've been doing this for 2 decades, and I still need to do that so I don't mess up. So anytime that there's a 0, write XY either above or below it. And in this case, the number was with the y, so it's on the y-axis. In this other case, the number was with the x, so it's on the x-axis. All right, so now that we have that little review, so everyone's going to pause, we're going to pause the video, and everyone's going to find the 3 side lengths for each one of those. And then we're going to check our answers. So go ahead and do that now, please. Okay, so you should have found all the side lengths. The side lengths you should have gotten, and I'm just going to go speed racer with this. You should have gotten, let's see, number 7. You should have got 1 squared plus 4 squared, which is radical 17. You should have gotten 3 squared plus 4 squared, radical 25. And you 0 squared and 2 squared, which is radical 4. All right. Number 8, we have a 1 by 3, which is radical 10. Another 1 by 3, or a 3 by 1, which is radical 10. And then a 2 by 4, which was a radical 20. All right, so that's 7 and 8. All right, and then on number 9, we have a 1 by 4, radical 17. We have a 4 by 1, which is radical 17 again. And a 3 by 5, radical 34. And then for number 10, I'm going to zoom in a little better on these. And for number 10, you have a 6 by 9, radical 117, a 6 by 4, which is radical 52, and a 0 by 13, which is radical 169. All right, so those are all the side lengths. Okay, so let's see. On number 7, there are 0 sides that are equal. So it's definitely either this one or this one. So all these others just don't work. Now you have to check which one it would be. All right, so I want you to pause again, and I want you to find this. I want you to select the classifications for all those. So this one I only started. You need to do the let's see, 4, 17, 25, and see if it follows the 30, 60, 90, which was x radical 3, x radical 4. So you need to check if that worked. All right, so everyone's doing these classifications. Pause the video, give that a try. Okay, let's see what happened. All right, so on number 7, we have radical 4. Okay, 4 times 3 and 4 times 4. So let's see if these worked. So 4, and that would be 12, and that would be 16. Were these the same as that? Were these the same? No, they were not. So it's definitely not 30, 60, 90. Your answer was just scaling. All right, on this one. Okay, we have 2 equal sides. So there are 2 equal sides on this one. So that means for 2, we either are 45, 45, 90 or isosceles. Let's see, which one is it? So let's put these in order. So we have 10, 10, and 20. That would be x, x, and x radical 2. That's that list. All right, let's see. That would be radical 10, and then the other ones would be also radical 10 and radical 10 times 2. So that's 10, 10, and 20. Is that the same thing as this? Yes. So it's actually both of these answers. And if we had to choose which one, if we could only choose one, that would be the better answer. But technically, both are correct. But this is the best answer. Perfect. All right, let's keep going. All right, over here, there are 2 equal sides. So that narrowed it down. So 2 and 2 are right here. So these are gone right there. So we've got to see if this is a 45, 45, 90. So let's see. 17, 17, and 34. Is that x, x, and x radical 2? Let's see. That'd be still 17. That's radical 17. And 17 times 2, let's see. 17, 17, and that would be 34. Does that work? Oh my gosh, it does. That does work. So that's great. All right, so that is both a 45 and an isosceles. If we had only one choice, that would be the better choice, the 45, 45, 90. And this last one, let's see. Put them in order from least to greatest. That would be, well, first of all, there's no sides equal, right? So because there's no sides, that narrowed it down. So this is gone, and isosceles is gone. So it's between these. All right, if we put these in order from, so 52, 117, and 169, is that x, x radical 3 and x radical 4. Let's see. That is 52, 52 times 3, and 52 times 4. 52, that would be 156, and this would be 208. Are these the same? Oh no, that did not work. Those were not the same. So it is not a 3690, it is only a scalene. And those are the answers for that. Okay, nice. So now, if you ever get bored, a good page to be working on would be page 12, which is the same thing as these. So page 12 is a good number to work on if you guys are getting bored in class. Awesome. Okay, then our next thing that we're going to be doing, super simple. We just did all the hard stuff today. Now we're going to do something super simple and really, really easy. It's only going to take about 5 minutes. Everyone go to page 13. Everyone's going to page 13. Page 13 is actually a really good part. So page 13, we're going to be doing trig functions. So we're going to be doing trig functions. Here we go. So on these trig functions, real simple here. Okay. So two things that can happen if we redraw this here. Your theta, which is an angle. Okay, so I might say the word theta, which means angle. Okay, so your theta in these cases can only be at either A or B. Those are the only two locations, A or B, one or the other. It cannot be at C, which is already 90 degrees. All right, so we're going to label HOA, which means hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. All right, so put your finger on the 90 degrees. And now we are touching a certain side. So we have a green side. We have a red side. And I should definitely make a different color, so I'm going to get yellow. And we have a yellow side. Okay, so when you put your finger on the 90 degrees, the one side you're not touching will be the H. So we put our finger on 90. I'm touching green and red, so the yellow would be the H. Now put your finger on the theta. The one side you're not touching will be O. So I'm putting my finger on the theta. I'm touching yellow and green. The one side I'm not touching is red, so that would be the O. And the leftover side would be A. So everyone's okay with finding the hypotenuse. You put your finger on the 90, the one side you're not touching is H. If you put your finger on the theta, now you should be laughing at this. Mwah, ha, 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 ha. You're touching H and A. And the leftover side's O. Whichever one floats your boat. I like to find HO then A, but you find whatever you like. Okay, this one. Right here, we're going to put our finger on the 90. So what color are we not touching? Yellow this time. So that's H, which is the same thing as last time. Now put your finger on the theta. The opposite side is O, and what I'm touching is A, and I'm laughing at this. Mwah-ha-ha-ha. So please notice that your theta was up here, and your yellow and green were H and A. In this case, it's red and yellow. All right, that's all we're doing right now is just label HOA. So just be patient with me. All right, please go to page 14. We're going to page 14, and all we're labeling is H, O, and A. All right, here we go. For you to understand this, what I'm going to do is label different colors, just so you can see this better. And the colors mean nothing at this moment. I'm just putting colors on one side on everything. I'm just putting random colors in different spots. They mean nothing. I have no idea if I'm putting this in the same spot every time. Who knows? And yellow. These colors mean nothing at the moment. I'm just making different colors for different places. That's it. All right, so here we go. Number 3. So put your finger on the 90. So we always do the 90 degrees first, right? The one side I'm not touching is H. What am I not touching? What color? I'm not touching yellow, so that would be my H. So I put my finger on the 90 first, and that gave me H, remember? Okay. Here, I'll put this in a little note right here. So 90 turns into H, and then theta is opposite the O. Okay? All right. So we put our finger on the 90. The one side we're not touching is H. Now put your finger on the theta. The one side you're not touching would be O. Is that red or green? Which side are you not touching? Green. So that would be the O. And the side that you are touching is A. So you find H, and the one, the left right here, that you're touching is ha 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 ha. Awesome. All right, let's try this other one. Okay, so you're going to try this now. I'm going to step you through it. Put your finger on the 90, and the one side you're not touching will be H. All right, so label H. All right, now put your finger on the theta. The one side you're not touching is O. So label O. And the leftover side would be A. All right, let's see if you labeled it right. All right, so put your finger on the 90. And I'm not touching green, so that's H. Put your finger on the theta. And the opposite side would be O. And the leftover side would be A. And look how I'm touching my H. And the other side would be A. Perfect. All right, let's try again. All right, number 5. Put your finger on the 90. This right here. The one side you're not touching is H. What color is that? Okay. Put your finger on the theta. The one side you're not touching is O. And the leftover side is A. And you should be touching that. All right, let's see if you did this. So H, O, and the leftover side, which you're also touching, is A. All right, let's try again. And number 6, put your finger on the 90. Label your H. Put your finger on the theta. Label your O. And now label your A. All right, let's see. Put your finger on the 90. This is your yellow is your H. Because it's the one side I'm not touching. I see I'm touching red and green. Put your finger on the theta. That's the angle. Okay, the one side you're not touching is O, and the leftover side is A. Fabulous. Okay, so we got that one down. All right, so now you guys are going to page. Is it on the? It's on the back. All right, everyone go to page 15. All right, so everyone's going to page 15, and okay, so now you're on page 15. What I want you guys to do is I want you to label HOA. So you're going to do numbers 1 through 6, label HOA. So pause the video and do that now, please. Pause the video and find that now. All right, let's see if you guys labeled this correctly. Okay, so just because we're still learning, I'm gonna step through this. All right, so I'm gonna put my finger on the 90. The one side I'm not touching is H. Put your finger on the theta. The one side I'm not touching is O, and the other side I am touching is A. And when I put my finger on the theta, I'm touching H and A. Perfect. Okay, number 2. Here's H. Put your finger on the theta. The one side I'm not touching is O, and the leftover side is A. All right, make sure you guys are labeling this. All right, sweet. All right, this side, put your finger on the 90. I'm touching this side and this side. So the leftover side is H right there. Okay, put your finger on the theta. That's the angle. The one side I'm not touching is O, and the side I am touching is A. All right, number 4. H, O, and the leftover side is A. And when I put my finger on the theta, I'm touching H and A. Ha, ha, ha. All right, number 5. H, O, A. Number 6, H, O, A. Oh my gosh, we are done for the day. All right, hopefully that helped you guys out. Remember, baby steps, and have a great, wonderful day.